Dear students, class 10A, 10B. Now I am going to teach you about lesson number 5, the First World War. The first one, territorial rearrangements. Territorial rearrangements. What is territorial rearrangements? You know, at the end of the First World War, the entire parts of Europe came under the influence of the most important and powerful countries of the world, America. As a result of it, a number of provisions were made by American President Woodrow Wilson. The period after the war saw the beginning and the end of the European supremacy in the world because of the influence of particularly one country of the world, America. Economically and militarily, America means the United States of America, gained huge power in Europe and emerged as world power. Ultimately, the peace treaties also signed after the World War First, and transformed the political map of Europe at the end of the First World War, particularly in Europe. Thus, the ruling dynasties also were destroyed. The ruling dynasties of Europe also were destroyed. Now, what were the ruling dynasties of Europe destroyed? Number one, first dynasty of Russia. What was it? Romanov dynasty. The Romanov dynasty of Russia was destroyed after the First World War. And second one, which dynasty? Second one, Hohenzollern dynasty of Germany. Hohenzollern dynasty of Germany at the end of the First World War was destroyed. And last one, Habsburg dynasty. Habsburg dynasty of Austria-Hungary also was destroyed at the end of the First World War. So these are the three important dynasties of the world: Romanov dynasty of Russia, and Hohenzollern dynasty of Germany, and Habsburg dynasty of Austria-Hungary. And Hohenzollern dynasty of Germany, Habsburg dynasty of Austria-Hungary, and Romanov dynasty of Russia. These were the three most important dynasties of Europe, were destroyed at the end of the First World War. Now, question is, which power also came to an end? The most and important power of Turkey, the Ottoman Empire under the caliphs, under the rules of caliphs, also came to an end at the end of the First World War, because the political influence was not there, but also religious influence was there on the part of the caliphs, who was basically the religious head. And in respect of the prestige of caliph or religious head of Turkey, the Muslims of the world, they started organizing movements against the insult of the caliphs of Turkey. Ultimately, after few months later, at the end of the First World War, the rule of the Ottoman Empire in Turkey came to an end. And what happened after that? Came to an end. After that, the rule of Ottoman came to an end. Austria-Hungary began, independent countries, separate independent states. Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, they also became independent countries. And the World War I gave a serious blow. The First World War gave a serious blow to the autocratic monarchical system or autocratical monarchical form of government, and led to the development of democracy in Europe at the end of the First World War. Apart from this, the empires, you know, the empires having different cultures were dissolved, and independent states having distinct cultures emerged as the world power. These included, now how many countries of the world emerged as world powers? Ethiopia, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, these were the states of Europe emerged as new powerful countries of the world, because they all became independent under the impulse of nationalism. Alsace-Lorraine was restored to which country? Restored to France. And Schleswig also was restored to Denmark, because these were the country, Alsace-Lorraine were the part of France. Once upon a time Germany occupied it. So Germany at the end of the First World War restored to France it. And Schleswig also was the part of Denmark. Germany occupied it at the end of the First World War. Germany, restored it to Denmark. So, and Schleswig-Holstein restored to Denmark. So these are the territorial rearrangements at the end of the First World War done. Now, why was the most important international political organization established? It was established in order to establish international understanding, in order to establish brotherhood, mutual understanding, and solving international problems and crises. That's why the League of Nations was formed. Now, the creation of the League of Nations also removed the horror of war, but it was temporarily, because the leaders of the world, they realized that there must be one organization which could prevent them from organizing any war against each other, and that's why the League of Nations and its program culminated in the setting up, reduce international political tension, but it was nothing but temporary measure. An important part of the peace treaties was the covenant of the League of Nations, because League of Nations from the very, very beginning was alert to stop all kinds of aggressive attitudes of the different countries and expansionist policies of different countries of Europe, Asia and Africa. Woodrow Wilson's 14 points, included the creation of an international organization for the preservation of peace and guarantee, for the preservation of peace and to guarantee the independence of all countries of Europe, Asia and Africa. Thus, the League of Nations was created as a world organization of all independent countries in 1920. That's why, my dear students, because of the League of Nations and its international influence as political organization, the other countries of Europe, Asia and Africa, they felt its necessity, and they temporarily are established a good understanding and international understanding and brotherhood because of the interference of the League of Nations. League of Nations was supposed to shoulder all responsibilities of solving international problems and establishing cordial relationship among different countries of Asia, Europe and Africa. That's why it gave guarantee of not only it established international understanding and brotherhood, but also it guarantees the independence of different states under Woodrow Wilson's 14 points. It was made clear that in the long run, the countries of Asia, Europe, and Africa, who were under the autocratic rules of different countries of the world, must become independent. And under the Woodrow Wilson 14 points, so many countries of Asia, Europe, and Africa, they all became independent countries. For the present, the countries of Europe became independent. They were Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, Austria, Hungary, and these were the countries at the end of the First World War. They all became independent countries, and because of this independence and the guarantee given by the League of Nations established a reputation and your reputation and a good image as one of the most international political organization of different countries of Asia, Europe, and Africa. Up to this, my dear students, next day, objectives of the League of Nations. Thank you.